So now once you were in school, did you, in neighborhood school, that's now primary?
That's still nursery. I did
Still
1
nursery.
year, because it's 3 years of nursery. So 1 year in Happy Cute, then 2 years in neighborhood.
And now after that, now where did you proceed?
So I finished. So we were the first lot to enter with free primary education. So I finished then. Back then, my parents used to tell me they used to like check if you're able to touch your ear, then you can join. So because we were the first lot to enter with free primary education, they took it in terms of age. So I was lucky enough. I could have missed because they wanted me to stay 1 year outside before joining, but I think I did an interview and my grades were okay to allow me to enter. So I entered into Ayani. So the estate, it's called Ayani Estate, and the school was called Ayani Primary School. So that's where I started I did 4 years, class 1 to class 4. And it was a difficult. So I mentioned that school for me, there are particular points that school was very difficult. So it was difficult because I was bullied a lot let me not say a lot. There are particular experiences in school that I experienced that made me not like school. So I remember, I think in class 1 or class 2 there, the way you're given break to go to school. So maybe something to mention about my dad specifically. He didn't want us to experience the ghetto life. So he tried his best to make sure, even the move from the slum to the estate was to make sure that the influence, because he saw the influence around that he didn't want us to have. So he tried his best to make sure that we didn't have that influence. So even in terms of how I presented myself in school, even in the primary, was a bit different than most of the people. So we used to have break. You carry your break to school and you share, because you're young, you just share with your friend. So I remember one instance that we forgot to invite. I don't remember what happened, but there was this one person who wasn't able to come that day to share a break. And I think he didn't carry break. And I think he was a prefect. So he got mad. Then he caused us to like kneel in class. And he released everyone except me. So that incident really made me not like school a lot, because I felt like, why am I the only one who's kneeling? And all of us were together. But also, why are we kneeling for our break? I didn't understand. Then secondly, I think same year, there's something interesting. I don't know if it's Kenyan culture or so. When you're new somewhere, you are not given so much work. So we had a new student join us, and the teacher was like, nobody should touch these students. So me, because I was scared, I'm a very introverted person. So I've learned to be extroverted as years come, but I was very kept to myself. So I remember that day I tried my best to like pass through walls so that I don't touch her. So they were skipping rope in class. So see, I went for break, came back, and they were like, so the girl was crying, and they're like calling my name. But in class we were 2 poles, so I assumed it might be the other one. Then I was beaten. The teacher came and beat me for like no reason. So I remember it was such a confusing situation, because why am I being beaten for something I've not done? And I think that now made that space for school very difficult for me, because I felt as though no one liked me in school.
This feeling, because the fact that you remember these specific instances at a young age, this is between class 1 to class 4, do you think there was a reason why they were so impactful? Because I'm sure there are people you've been beaten by the teachers at that time many times. Why were these specific issues triggering to you, maybe?
Maybe I think because the idea that you're being punished for something you didn't do. I think that's why they impact me to now. Because I was carrying a fault that I was very sure was not on me. And I think another thing is remembering the difficulty with which it was to share with my parents. So I think there was a lot of that in my mind for. So you see, with my brother coming, there's a new sense of responsibility I never had of being a firstborn, of always having to share. You know, when you're alone, you don't share. If they buy you a ball, it's your ball. But now if they buy you a ball, if my brother cries for the ball, it's my ball. So I think then is when now I felt the relationship between me and my parents started being different. Let me use that term, in terms of I felt more kept to myself. I didn't want to increase the load, because now if I go and tell my parents I was beaten for something, they'll think I was the reason. So I think that's why it's a very foundational memory in terms of my schooling.
You think being a firstborn, as you've mentioned, impacts children in a different way because of the sense of responsibility you start feeling on your own? Maybe your parents have not given you that responsibility, but from your own mind.
I think it does. I think it, because when the other child comes, you realize something changes. Because I think for the first time, because now I have 2 other siblings, so we were 4 in total. So you see, you realize you need to stand up for them a bit. You need to share more than you used to think. So there are things that might not be spoken. Your parents may not tell you, but you just see them. So for example, I remember there's a time I was bought for a ball and my brother cried for it. And there's a sense in me, is like, if I go and tell my parents this is my ball, it feels very, very weird. So there are some things that are spoken, obviously, like your parents would have those conversations. That's, you are the firstborn, you need to take care of these others. But there are others that are just, you presume them, you assume them as the firstborn.